Wow. Fairs, Chelsea, fairs. Chelsea just absolutely battered and destroyed Barcelona 3-0. Could have been 6. I think they put the ball in the back of the net 6 times. And even when Barcelona had 11 men on the pitch, Chelsea were the dominant team. Another big game where Enzo Maresca has got it spot on. We saw it against PSG. We saw it today. I looked at Enzo Maresca's lineup and I wasn't 100% sure. I was like, okay, well, Barcelona are gettable defensively. Maybe the high line, maybe Chelsea were getting behind, but I was like, there's no out-and-out 10. Enzo Fernandez is more of an 8. And Enzo Maresca's game plan worked to perfection. No Cole Palmer, no João Pedro today, no problem for Chelsea. Lamine Yamal didn't... What did he do? What did Lamine Yamal do? Cucurella got that guy hooked. Stinker and hooked. Ineffective. Whereas Estevao for Chelsea was absolutely nuts. How did we let Chelsea sign a guy? How did we let Chelsea sign a guy this good at 18? I am worried. The Premier League needs to be worried because we haven't seen Brazilian talents like this in the Premier League. They go to La Liga. This could be the next Neymar, and he could be playing for Chelsea for the next 10, 15 years. I think we're about to see the next big thing, and in the Premier League, not La Liga. And why that's exciting as a Premier League fan, it's also like, why have we let Chelsea get him? They've got Palmer. They've got enough good players as it is, and they're going to get potentially the next Neymar. This is the next big thing to come out of Brazil, and he's in the Premier League. He ain't in La Liga. He's in the Prem. He's at Chelsea. This is worrying. So we're going to go through my notes on the game. We're going to talk about, obviously, the game, Estevao, his numbers, just Cucurella, Caicedo, Enzo. We've got a lot to talk about. But first of all, we've got to talk about Chelsea. I think this was one of Chelsea's most complete performances all season. They had 3 goals disallowed. They won 3-0, but it wasn't just the goals and the runs in behind and them tearing apart Barcelona's defence and the fact that I don't think Sanchez had to make a save after Barcelona went down to 10 men. I mean, very basic ones. But it was the fact that Chelsea didn't let Barcelona breathe. Chelsea's press was relentless today. The Chelsea players weren't just better than Barcelona, but they were trying twice as hard. The press was relentless. They were not giving Barcelona any time on the ball. They were winning back the ball. Even Gusto, who was on a yellow card, there was a time in the first half where he made a phenomenal tackle and won back the ball, and he was winning back the ball. Caicedo doing Caicedo stuff. Enzo was there. The ball winning was phenomenal. Chelsea were controlling everything, even before the red. Yes, Ferran Torres could have scored, and maybe that changes how the game goes. But 3-0 versus PSG, 3-0 versus Barcelona. This is my thing with Chelsea, is you don't know what they're going to do. They're the type of team where they beat Burnley, but you almost think they're more likely to lose to Burnley than a Barcelona, than a PSG, because in the big games, Chelsea show up. And I think they're going to be huge competition for Arsenal if they win at the weekend. If they beat Arsenal, I don't know. I don't know if I want to say title race is on, because Chelsea are capable of losing some silly games against teams they should be beating. But when it comes to the big game, Chelsea will be up for Arsenal. They're so good in the big... It's nuts. I can't tell you right now if Chelsea are going to be top 4 or they could push Arsenal for the title. And the reason I can't tell you that is I know how good Chelsea can be, but can they do it every week? Now, talking of good, this guy's a joke. Lamine Yamal, who? Estevao was nuts today. 48 touches, 24 out of 28 passes completed, 8 touches in the opposition's box, 3 duels won, 2 out of 5 take-on completed, 2 chances created, 2 fouls, 1 goal. That goal from Estevao, was coming up against one of the most highly rated young defenders in Europe, absolutely deletes him out the way, Estevao. Absolutely deletes him, destroys him, gets him out the way there, Estevao. Absolutely deleted. And then that finish. Not just the run, but the finish. The absolute finish. Rocket. Phenomenal goal. Not just the goal, he's been great lately. 3 goals in the Champions League. I think only Haaland and Yamal have done that. 3 goals in his first 3 UCL starts at 18. Nuts. He's looking like a young Neymar. The confidence he's got. But it's not just goals and assists. I think he's got 11 goal contributions this season. His touch, his flair, his movement, his little dribbles, 1-2, intelligence. The goal if Lamine Yamal does that, they're like, best player in the world, Lamine Yamal, that's what he does. Estevao did it. He deleted the defence of Barcelona. He struck gold with that strike. He was phenomenal. He was the star of the show today, not Lamine. And in the Champions League so far, he started 3 games. 5 in total. 3 goals, a penalty won, 8 key passes, 11 out of 20 dribbles. Chelsea have a phenomenal player in the making. And do you know what I think is so mad about Estevao that I don't think anyone talks about? But the guy, he's literally just come to England. He's changed continents, languages, leagues. Coming from Brazil to England at 18, different culture, different weather, different language is not easy. Sometimes it takes these players 1 or 2 years to settle in. There was questions over, does he even speak much English? A lot of these young players need time to just settle in. They need a year to get used to it. A lot of them go to Spain as it's a bit less of an adjustment, or Portugal because of the language thing. He's come to England at 18, not even needed a month to settle. He's just come ready. He's like, I don't need a month to settle. I don't care that I'm 18 and I've changed continents and I've gone to somewhere that couldn't be more different from Brazil. I've got to learn a new language. I've got to make new friends. He's come, and he's come prepared. He's come like a generational player. Because generational players, they sometimes don't need that year to adapt. And I've not seen, in my lifetime, there hasn't been many to be honest, a Brazilian player come to the Premier League and be like, wow, this could be the first real talent the Prem's got. And as a Premier League fan, it's exciting. We might be getting the next big thing. We might be getting the next Neymar in the league. Like, these players, they normally go to Real Madrid, they normally go to Barcelona, but we might be getting the next big thing, the next Ballon d'Or winner, the next Ronaldo, Messi type player, the guy that's going to compete with Lamine. Is it going to be Lamine or is it going to be Estevao for the Ballon d'Ors like Messi, Ronaldo? We might be getting that in the Premier League, which is exciting. But then it's like, how do we let him go to Chelsea? As a Man United fan, he should be our guy. He should be our guy. Why have we let him go to Chelsea? We might have the next big thing in the league, but he's a problem because he's at Chelsea. They've got Palmer. They've got Estevao. That is deadly. Palmer and Estevao, the future for them. Caicedo is just a monster in the midfield. Reece James, when he stays fit, is one of the best players in the world. I look at Chelsea, top centre-back, top goalkeeper, maybe another striker. We'll see how the lap does. I like Gui, I like João Pedro, but maybe he's better as a 10. But Chelsea got something special going on. And talking of special, we've got to talk about Cucurella and his resurgence. He pocketed Lamine Yamal. The only other player that I've seen pocket Lamine Yamal was Alvaro from Real Madrid a couple of weeks ago. You look at Lamine Yamal in the semi-final versus Inter and what he did to DeMarco. You saw what Lamine Yamal was doing in the Champions League games last season, earlier this season, versus Club Brugge. That's Lamine Yamal's worst Champions League performance in the last year that I've seen. Not a sniff. It's crazy. I mean, he almost come to my club. The only reason he didn't come to my club is because you played him in a cup competition. And maybe Poch did that on purpose, but you almost loaned out Cucurella to my club 2 years ago. He was almost like done, finished at Chelsea. And now he's back. I just think his resurgence is unreal. I think Cucurella should be a really good example to, let's say, Delap. He's got his first goal today in Champions League, he could kick on. But even if Delap doesn't have a very good year, you could go to Delap and go, look at Cucurella. Sometimes you need a year, maybe even 2 years to settle in. Look at what Cucurella's done. It's possible. I think it's a really good story for anyone that you sign to say, look, you can do what Cucurella's done, but you got to work hard. I think it's a good story, but the thing about him is he was really good defensively, wasn't letting Lamine Yamal get past him, just wasn't. But it was some of the carries he made with the ball. He got up that left-hand side. He was particularly threatening. He was trying to get those balls in behind. He was trying to play those passes. He was involved in the build-up to the goal that a lot of people thought was offside, but it wasn't. It was a near-perfect performance from him on both sides. But you can't just talk about Estevão. We can't just talk about Cucurella. Caicedo's a freak. That first half, I think Caicedo was man of the match. I thought Cucurella's up there. But Caicedo, that first half, he won everything. He controlled everything. The guy covers every blade of grass. The Barcelona midfield could not get the time on the ball to make things happen because Caicedo was there. Reece James is there. Gusto was there at times. Enzo can be there, but Caicedo is there. He's everywhere. Barcelona love to play through the middle. They're so technically good. They're so good at breaking teams down. You can't do that when you play Moises Caicedo. Moises Caicedo is in that Haaland, Lamine Yamal category for me, but he won't get the credit because he's a 6. Moises Caicedo is a top 5 player in world football right now. Top 5. Top 5. It's between him and Haaland, the best player in the Premier League right now, but top 5. He is, but he's a 6, so we won't get that credit. He's ridiculous. You got Enzo Fernandez, who's fantastic today as the connector, progressing the passes, creating pressure, creating chances. Really good assist to the lap. He could have shot. He passed it to the lap. And I think what was so good about Enzo passing it to Delap is that goal for Delap would be a lot more important than if Enzo scored, for Delap's confidence, for Delap's future at Chelsea as well. He needs a big goal like that, Delap. I think he'll be good at Chelsea, but he's been rusty. He's had the red card. He's had injuries. He hasn't had a chance to get that momentum. But that's a really good goal for Delap to get as well. I think Enzo, he's been hit and miss at Chelsea. He had a really good period, had a down period, then had a good period. I think this time last year he just went on a run. I think about October last year where he just kept getting goal and assists, and I think he's really picked up again. But particularly in the big games, Enzo is there. You look at Enzo Maresca in the big games, his management is good. And you look at Enzo Fernandez in the big games, and he's good. But I want to give credit to Neto. Neto almost scored a fantastic goal in the second half. Neto was very good at getting the ball up the pitch, carrying the ball. I thought Neto had a very good game. I know he gets a bit stick here and there. I know he could be inconsistent. I thought Neto was good. I thought Santos was good when he came on. I know Gusto had to come off because of the yellow card, but I honestly think Gusto had a very, very good game. A very, very good game as well from Gusto. And I have to say, that was a phenomenal performance from Chelsea. That was a dominant performance from Chelsea. That was a phenomenal performance from Chelsea. And Estevao is absolutely unreal, people. Absolutely unreal, isn't he? Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.